I'm with Chad Caton, who is a team leader of Spartan Sword, an organization that is on the ground, working hand to hand, boots on the ground, our fellow Americans who have been suffering tremendously because of Hurricane Helene. Chad, thank you so much. I know you're going only on 2 or 3 hour sleep. You are extremely tired, but I really appreciate your time. I won't take too much of your time. I want our constituency and our audience to really understand the devastation of what Helene did to our community. Please, if you can tell us, name some of the towns that have been devastated, and what is the situation? What was the situation then, and how is it continuously such disaster?
Uh, thanks first off. Thank you for having me. Uh, what happened here is not being portrayed very well in the national news, and I'm not sure why. There's a lot of people that have opinion on that. Me, I don't. I think a lot of it has to do with the election, but I'm going to leave that alone because we're about the mission right now, and our mission and what we're seeing is essentially the an area the size of Belgium that has had a 9/11 go 100 miles through it.
Oh,
And I know that sounds completely unfathomable, but that's exactly what we're seeing. We just left Chimney Rock, which has been all over the news because of its mineral deposits and lithium, and there's a lot of misinformation from the ground here because we're a polarized society right now. And one of the things that we're doing with Spartan Sword and Heal Corp and Padre Pio America Foundation, we're trying to assess the needs, and with our military background, be able to direct those needs to where they go, not for them to be stored or hoarded or anything like that. We're trying to see what the needs on the ground. I understand. I get everything from I need you to help me fix the culvert in front of my house to I have a paralyzed son. I'm 92 years old. I can't drive and I need oxygen, and we're getting that to him. And we're doing that in a number of ways. And in our way of doing it is that we're trying to heal the mind, heal the body, and at the same time get them the needs they have. And we just came on something that with all the devastation and the cleanup that's happening, or not, we found ourselves in the middle of winter. And we have people that have no electricity, have no water, and could be an hour and a half, 2 hours from the local town or municipality. So we are assessing all those people out and trying to recognize them so that we can keep our goal is the 120 days. We want the 120 days where we're going to keep you warm, we're going to keep you fed, we're going to keep you medically checked, as we continue to fix what we can here on the ground and to build the infrastructure to where they can get back to some semblance of life.
120 days would put you through the end of February, March. Is that correct?
Right. We're looking at March with if we feel like if we can keep this machine moving till March, we're going to get back up into the 60s, 50s, and we're going to see spring come in, and then we're going to be able to hit the ground running with equipment, let it thaw out, and build back the roads, build back the bridges, build back the houses. It's going to
Mhm.
be years before this place is anywhere near back to where it's supposed to be.
Where are people living now?
So the Appalachian people are very special people. They love their mountain. They don't want to leave it, and people are living off of generators at their house. Some people have Generacs that are connected to their house, but a lot of people don't. And in this area, there's poor, and then there's very very poor, and a lot of these people live off the land as it is. They do hunting. They have their own gardens, and the resources they have are few and far between. So if it was lost in the water, they're not able to just go out and buy that. And a lot of people with the FEMA $750 they promised, which is laughable, they're actually being denied for some reason, and we're not real sure what's going on with that. That's above my pay grade because we're trying to stay out of the political side of this and just trying to make sure we get the people that are here some semblance of comfort and protection. And that's a big thing. Looting. We heard suicides are up a lot. We know sexual assault has been up a lot. It's anywhere where you find yourself in a martial law kind of a way. And some of these mountains are independent of themselves. They have no bridge to it. And we've heloed in everything that we need. There's nobody without. We believe unless they want to be. That's I have to say that because there are people in the mountains that don't want us anywhere near them. Don't want the government anywhere near them. They don't want help. Just leave me alone. That's why I live in a mountain. So we have a lot of different personalities, and we're working through those to make people. And the people up here are so generous and very humble, and almost to a fault because they're like, I don't want that. I had a 92-year-old lady that came and got 4 bottles of water, and she was basically wearing underwear and a long shirt and some flip flops. And we're like, ma'am, let us put some more water in your car. And she's like, my clothes were on the drying line, and they got taken away. We got her some clothes. And she said, I only want 4 bottles of water for my medication because I don't want to take from somebody else. And we're talking truckloads of water. So of course, when we took her to the clothes, we filled up the back of her car with bottled water and made sure she was good to go for a while. So, but that just goes to show you the humility and the niceness of these people. They're more worried about their neighbor than themselves, and that's been a benefit because a lot of them are taking care of each other because there's no one else to do it.
That's the American spirit. We look out for each other. How many children do you know? How many children are affected by this and how?
What I do know is the 100 children at Black Mountain that we got real involved with, the Black Mountain Children's Home, that went viral on Facebook. We went up there and that's what we do. Our rapid response team, we are assessing situations and making sure that if we need a doctor to go up there every 2 weeks for a reason, we make sure there's a doctor to go up there. We make sure the doctor has a side by side if they have to get up there, which is an ATV or an ATU, off-road vehicle, or a four-wheel drive truck, whatever we need. And we're assessing those situations out, making necessary so that there's always a doctor there for those 2 days. There's always nurses there to take oxygen. And like right now, we're trying. A lot of people bring their off-road vehicles, but they can only stay for a week and they have to go back to work, and they take their off-road vehicle with them. So whenever they leave, we're right back to stage one where we don't have a UTV or we don't have it. So we're trying to find those things for Spartan Sword. We're trying to get two off-road vehicles that will insure and take care of. But it's kind of one of those things when you first come in, you have to spend a whole bunch of money to get it. So we're just moving in the right direction to do that. We're trying to put together some fundraising so that we can keep these UTVs up there and keep those nurses going up on the mountain and trading out the oxygen tanks that they have. Because we don't have power, they can't hook up their rebreather that makes new oxygen for them. So when they don't have power and we don't want them running generators because of fuel and maintenance, we're trying to just get them on oxygen tanks where we don't have to take that power that can keep their refrigerator going or lights. So it's kind of an all over the place. I mean, it really is a war zone. And granted, nobody's shooting at each other, but it doesn't take away from the despair that's around to these people. But their love for God, their love for country, and their love for North Carolina and the Appalachians is evident in everywhere you look and how they're coming together.
Well, God bless you for what you're doing. So, when we give statistics, it's just a number, but when we have specific stories that humanizes the tragedy, do you have, I know you shared a couple of stories, and thank you for that, about the man who is not able to drive and the woman who needed water for her medication, I believe. What other story do you have that involves children that you can share with our constituency?
The biggest issue is that, and children are very resilient. I took a picture the other day of a little girl that has been, their house was messed up. But what her dad did, because he has heavy equipment, is he came to our camp at Avery Airfield, and I met them, and him and his wife were cooking for all of us, the SAR teams and the search and rescue teams and the cadaver dogs and what have you. And every morning they have breakfast and I see these two little kids playing over on the dirt and I got to know him because I helped him change a tire on his trailer and I took this picture of this beautiful little girl, filthy, just filthy. And that's okay because country kids are filthy. They play in dirt and they do their thing with her brother. But the thing is they they didn't have anything. And instead of worrying about them, they put the whole family in the big rig, loaded up their trailer, and came to cook for us. And they said that I brought my equipment so that I could help. And I said, well, what about, you got two little kids, and he goes, this is what we do. When it's bad, it's bad. We're all bad together. When it's good, we're all good together. And either way, my kids are going to know what the real world is about and what it is to help other people. God has shown us that way through the Bible, and he spoke to it. And this is a big burly man that and he got emotional about it. But he's like, it means more to us to be able to help you that are helping us, that God will provide. And it was a moment for some of us hardened military type fellas that are able to look in this little girl's eyes and know that she's learning from a good man and a good mother and it's amazing how they all become family with us. And instead of worrying about his farm, he's worried about his neighbors, and he knows we are the ones that are there to help the neighbors. So he said the one thing we can do is feed you. So it's a pretty fun story. I like it. It's a happy one. There's worse stories. There's a gentleman that I believe he was 16. He walks the river every day looking for his dad.
Oh,
Um, and I was down there working as we were trying to get a bridge put in, and we were supporting the local diesel fuel. And I saw him walking down, and I asked one of the guys, and they're like, "He's looking for his dad." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He said his dad was washed away, and he wants to bring him home. And he's actually found three other bodies as he walked the river. And they're unrecognizable, and so they had to do DNA, and of course they weren't his father, so he's still out there every day, walking all day trying to find something of his father. And people have tried to talk to him, and he said, I'm going to do this till I find my dad. And the human spirit is crushed up here, but it's still alive. And the faith in God and the faith in humanity and who we are as a people. I talked to my wife. Today's our anniversary, and I'm here, and she's back home, and I'm so blessed to have her because she knows that I have to honor my oath that I took for this country, and I have to be here. I wouldn't sleep, especially when my brothers are out here traipsing through this terrible place as far as destruction is concerned.
God
And
bless you.
to sit there and see, we don't have TV, so some of us are checking out our Twitter, and it seems like craziness is happening all over the world through politics and geopolitics, and it's kind of funny because we're in the middle of a war zone, but we're seeing the greatest part of humanity that seems the rest of the world could use, especially when it comes to those that can't take care of themselves or protect themselves, which we stand for, and that's the children and the elderly. So
Mhm.
it's I'm a different person, I'll tell you that. And I've learned a lot about myself, and I've learned a lot about who we are as a people. And I'm gonna make sure that story is told one day when I go home,
Absolutely.
when I'm able to take a shower.
Absolutely. You're an inspiration. I can't imagine how it feels to see your fellow Americans, your fellow humans going through this devastation that is out of their hands. It's Mother Nature that wreaked this havoc upon their lives, and they've lost everything that they've ever worked for, that they had. But they rise to the occasion for each other, and you have risen to the occasion to answer the call. God has called you, and I felt that our ministry, even though we're small, but we have been blessed beyond our expectation, and it is time. Um, we have to stand with our fellow Americans, even though our focus is the Christians of the Middle East. But I could not turn my face away. And you know, Elie Wiesel, the great Holocaust survivor and Nobel Peace Prize winner, he said, when you listen to a witness, that makes you a witness. You become a witness. And you have made me become a witness. And through this short interview that we will publicize, every person who's listening to this and is viewing this has become a witness because of you. So thank you for that. And happy anniversary to you and to your wife. And what an inspiration you are, really, truly. For those Americans that are sitting in LA or sitting in Chicago, New York, and the media is not covering statistics, doesn't tell us the stories like this, what is your message to them? Why should they assist you in this very dark hour in our country?
Well, having been in the military and having been a former firefighter, my entire adult life has been in service of my neighbors and my country. And I don't expect that of everybody. It's just who God wanted me to be. Um, but we all have a point where we have to look in our own backyard and protect those that can't protect themselves. And if you don't believe that, then I'd ask you to not look in your backyard, but look in the mirror, because we are one big village. We are all on this rock together, and ultimately, whether it's race, creed, color, religion, humanity is super important for us to all recognize. And again, especially for those that can't protect themselves, be it the children and our elderly. And it's something that I would ask people when you are going. And I used to live in Ventura, California, and I love California. And there's great places to go have a dinner and a glass of amazing wine. I would ask for you to think about the kids that are sitting in a diaper in the middle of a room with a sleeping bag wrapped around them in front of a little stove, because they have nowhere else to go. This isn't in a far off country, which it's easy to turn a blind eye. It's not in a distant battlefield between two ideologies or religions. This is in Appalachia. This is in the mountains where people just wanted to be left alone in the first place. And something that was completely unforeseen came and just wreaked absolute havoc to their world. And again, we come back to that humanity, that if we don't take care of each other, then we're all bound for a world I don't want to be in, because I'm sure all of us have had somebody that's helped them at one point, be it move a couch, change their tire. That scale moves up to your what you could do living in California, and being able to donate or help financially to the poorest people in North Carolina, that we can provide for them. Ultimately, what you're doing is you're quite possibly saving a life. It's not just being a good person, you're saving lives. This is a big problem. And with winter around the corner, we are moving it in light speed. That's why we're not sleeping. We have helicopters flying, we have side by sides, we're on the phone all the time getting trucks. And it, for instance, I was in a Blackhawk, and a privately owned Blackhawk is $3,000 an hour to be able to fly that thing. And we've done 6 hours on that thing, just out there trying to get to places that you can't get to, and bring in big generators or bring in big heaters. And there's a lot of people out here donating a whole bunch of money and time. And it'd be nice if we could keep that moving in the right direction, because the day that we can't fly these birds anymore because we can't afford the fuel, we failed the people, we failed our own countrymen. And I'm going to fight like hell to keep that from happening.
And you have a partner in us. We're partnering with Black Mountain Home. It's an honor. They're an incredible organization, and we're partnering with you. 100% of the donations that we have raised will come to Black Mountain Home that you work with as well. So the message is, for those of you who cannot be there, for those of you who are at a loss, that you don't know what to do, you're listening to Chad's words. We're all moved with what you're saying, Chad. Please donate to IraqiChristianRelief.org, IraqiChristianRelief.org. Every single dollar will go to this worthy cause. These are our fellow Americans. the children, the elderly, the most vulnerable, the ones that are, you talked about disabled. I cannot imagine what the disabled are going through that have survived this, and yet they've lost everything. People that are sick, that don't have their medication, whether it's for heart disease, diabetes, or mental well-being. I can't even imagine, Chad, the
Well, I have
situation
a
there.
story on that. We just found a 5-year-old little girl that was just diagnosed having to take 4 shots of insulin a day, and it has her insulin pump has to be connected to the internet, and
Oh my gosh.
we had to use trucks and side by sides to get this to this particular little girl to take her our Starlink. We don't have a Starlink anymore because we wanted to be able to take this backpack Starlink up to this little girl so that her insulin pump will work and doesn't have to be monitored. It's connected to the internet, and the Starlinks are a lifesaver up here. We could use a truckload of those things, but that particular incident is something that our team does. We are the fast response team, and we get things to the most impossible places for the people that need it. And we've got that. I'm actually here doing this interview with you right now. My team just left to get that Starlink to her. So um, we're able to continue doing that work right now. But a 5-year-old little girl, her mom's not gonna have to stay up all night monitoring her insulin because she's going to be able to be connected to the internet. The doctor's going to be able to watch the dose, and her insulin pump is going to is going to give her that freedom because
Mm.
we're able to put that internet on her at her home. So
Wow.
it's
Wow.
another kids. You know, we Doctor or Mr. Beast. He's a big guy on YouTube. He sent a whole bunch of candies up here. We were proud to be able to
Mm.
give that chocolate to the kids to watch them smile for a second. So they're displaced. There's people everywhere, and we need help. And I wish I could. I don't even. I wish it wasn't about the dollar bill, but unfortunately, that's the only way we're going to make this right.
Yes, and we're your partner in that. Do you also, or do you know if Black Mountain Home accepts in-kind donations? And if so, what do you need?
I would tell you to go talk to President Jimmy, specific to Black Mountain, because Black Mountain was something that was thrown at us by like 3 or 4 thousand people on social media,
Mm.
and there was a little misinformation there. But the once we got there, we were able to assess the needs, figure it out. We got him the Starlinks that he needed to bring his entire program back, which one of which was the social workers so that they could call their family members that didn't know anything. And some of them are from all around the world. In Afghanistan, 2 of the kids that were from the Middle East couldn't reach their families. So they could now because we were able to get those Starlinks in there. And it seems silly, but they're also being able to play games. You know, they want them to kind of get back to some semblance of life.
Some
And Mr.
normalcy.
Yeah, and Mr. Jimmy's doing a phenomenal job up there. We've kind of he's got our number. If he ever needs anything from us, we're there. And I'm glad that you guys are supporting him on the back end because he has a phenomenal program up there.
He does. Jimmy, just for those of you who don't know, Jimmy Harmon is the head of Black Mountain Home that we are partnering with. Do you have any parting words, my dear? You have given us such a heartfelt interview, and I know you need to go. You're busy. I'm not going to take too much of your time. What are your parting words to our constituency?
At the end of the day, we all have to recognize that we need each other. We can argue about politics, we can argue about, ideology, but we need to get back to humanity. We need to get back to God. We need to understand that there's something bigger than all of us, and we need to give ourselves to that in order for us all to find a utopian society that we can be excited about. And I'm understanding of conflict. I was a soldier myself.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. But right now, let's still think about the kids, no matter who they are, what they are, and let's make these people whole. Nobody did this. Nobody brought this on themselves. This wasn't bad policy. This was a natural disaster that was unforeseen, and bad things happened, and we need to try to fix it. And the only way we're going to do that is out of the country.
Is this the first time such an impact happened there?
As far as I know, anything of this magnitude, I mean, the entire geography's changed here. I mean, there's new rivers. There's old rivers that were 20 feet wide are now 130 feet wide. The mountain, the roads, the entire geography has changed, and that's made things difficult. There are currently on the GS maps right now. There's 600 landslides that have happened. And when we got our last report, there were 94 new landslides that happened on the GS maps that have been flagged. So we're trying to go up there and check those particular landslides, make sure there's no houses underneath them or around them, making sure that it's just the mountain giving way a little bit, and if a tree falls, does it make a noise? Well, we see it on the GS map, and we want to make sure people are safe in those areas. And I think we're good if we do this right and we're able to have the resources we need. My goal is to make sure that we lose nobody because of winter, and that's the goal of SpartanSword.org and HealCorp.org and Padre Pio Foundation America in Connecticut. That's what we're all about. We're actually bringing in a hospital trailer Friday to be able to make it a mobile hospital to get up into these outlying areas for colds and things like that, so that we can be there on the ground when the winter hits.
If people do reach out to me, whether with questions or wanting to volunteer with you or wanting to make different types of donations that we may not accept, I will be sure to be in touch with you, Chad. You're an inspiration. You are a soldier for God. You're a soldier for our country still. And you truly have given us our time, despite everything, how busy you are, and I'm grateful for that. Thank you so much. God bless you. Happy anniversary. And hopefully next time we see each other, you will have had a lot of success saving lives and bringing comfort and relief to our fellow Americans.
Well, I appreciate you taking this time and giving us an opportunity to reach out to folks that aren't, because this isn't in the mainstream media for whatever reason, and hopefully they're understanding of what's really going on here. And we're going to be making a lot of noise with it ourselves, because this needs to be recognized. Whether it was faults of anyone, be it policy on the afterwards or whatever, we need to face what's really in front of us right now and save lives. And thank you for
Yes.
giving me that opportunity to come on with you.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure. Have a good day. Thank you very
You,
much. Thank you.
thank you.